Hey, this is Ian from EssentialTennis.com. Welcome to this strategy session in which we're going to be talking about when to poach in your doubles play, how to time your poach so that you can be the most successful disrupting the returning player when your partner is serving. I want to quickly thank Perry, who asked this question on the Essential Tennis Facebook page. Now, in talking about this subject, we're going to pretend that this is you right here. Your partner is serving. We've got the returner in front of you. And I first want to talk about when I don't suggest that you time your poach. When should we not be doing this? And I've often heard it suggested that you should be timing your poach move. When you really commit to going across and trying to cut off that return of serve. I've often heard it suggested that you should time that with the bounce of the serve in the service box. Now, it's important to point out that that could be a great time to go. But the problem with using that suggestion is that it's going to completely change depending on how fast of a serve your partner has. If they have a slower serve, maybe even especially a second serve, where they're taking some off and they're really just trying to put it in play, and you're looking to make a move and be aggressive, that means that the opponent, the returner, is going to have much more time between when the ball bounces and when it actually gets to the racket and they're making contact. They're going to have a lot more time if your partner's serve is slower, which means that if you time your poach move with when the ball lands in the box, your opponent, the returner, will have all kinds of time to try to catch you down the alley. Now, again, if your partner has a really nice, aggressive, confident serve, then it could be that that timing would work great. But if for whatever reason their serve slows down, maybe over the course of the match, or as I said before, with a second serve, it'll totally throw off the timing and rhythm that you were working with to try to catch this returner off guard. So for that reason, I don't like the general suggestion of going with the bounce of the ball in the service box. What I do like is timing your movement with the initiation of the forward swing from your opponent who's returning. So just imagine the ball is bouncing in the box. Your opponent is identifying whether or not it's a forehand or a backhand. They're making their turn to that side of their body. They're getting the racket set up. What I would suggest to you as probably being the best general rule of thumb for timing your poach would be as the racket starts to drop and they begin to make that forward swing towards the ball. So you've got the amount of time that it takes for them to drop the racket, get the racket to contact, and then of course the amount of time it takes for the racket to come it takes the ball to come off the racket and actually strike the ball across to where you're poaching and making your move to try to cut off that return of serve. I like that time to make your move because at that moment in time, your opponent has already made some kind of commitment as far as where they want to try to hit the ball. So we're waiting for them to hopefully commit and have a target before we make our move, but we're not waiting so long that the ball is already past you by the time you make your move. So you don't want to wait super long because that decreases your chances of actually cutting off the return a great deal. We want to make a play at the return of serve. So don't wait too long, but you don't want to go too early either. There's definitely kind of an art to this. There's no real scientific answer because it's going to change depending on how confident that returner is in changing up their target kind of last minute and trying to catch you. And that's kind of the last kind of thought that I'll leave you with is, as with just about all parts of strategy in tennis, singles or doubles, there's very, very rarely any written laws, things that just cannot change, and this always works. Almost never can you find something that always works. So I'm going to make the suggestion to you today that you should time your poach movement with that drop of the racket and that kind of commitment of the swing from your opponent, the returner. But it could be that changing it up a little bit, either earlier or later, could work really, really well against specific opponents. So keep that in mind. Experiment, use what works. That's always the point of strategy. Pay attention, find out what works, and that's what you should be using. So Perry, thank you so much for this excellent question. I appreciate it. If you are watching on YouTube today, I'd appreciate it if you click like on this video, subscribe to Essential Tennis so that you can check out the rest of the strategy session videos that I'm going to be publishing in the near future. And if you'd like to see your name on the board and your question being answered just like Perry, leave a question for me down below this video, no matter where you're watching, and let me know what topic you'd like me to cover next. So until then, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I'll be talking to you again very soon.